Make sure to go and check out all of our latest merch at paddockmerch.com. We've got loads of new designs and even more products coming all the time. With 2 or more items, you get 20% off using the code Paddock20. And if you remember, there's even bigger discounts available. Link is in the description.
Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is Paddock Live, and I am here joined by the housewife's favourite, Alex Bagley. How are we doing, brother?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah?
Or good mood after last night. It lifted the mood of the place, didn't it, a little bit? Because at half-time yesterday, everyone was a bit miserable, weren't they? The world was ending.
The world was ending. I was at home. I had to look after those little people that live in my house.
Right, okay.
Because my missus was away. So I gave up my ticket at half time. Was like, well, at least I'm not there. By full time, I was gutted. Gutted. What was it like being there last night? We'll get to the stories in a minute.
It was good last night. It was that weird mood of first half. I think we played some good football in the first half.
Can I don't want to be negative, but just quickly, what were the boos like? Because I wasn't there, so I can only hear it off the telly. Heard a little bit of booing. I know a few of the presenters were making a meal out of it.
I was sat up in East End, and there was a bit of half time. There was a good mix of boos. There was a few boos, but then, I mean, and Ollie picked up the TRA and everything. You could literally hear, if the other side of the stadium,
TRA, flying flag.
Leaving the players leaving the pitch, just that kind of lifted everyone. And I think that the second half, United come out from the first minute, flying out. The mood just lifted in the stadium. You could tell us a bit more about him, and it wasn't people saying, "Oh, it was more individual." They went for it. It was nothing to do with that. They've gone out and they've pressed better from the first minute. Luke Shaw stepped up. Fred stepped up. You could see Fred screaming at Luke Shaw when he didn't press after they first scored the first goal. United not pressing. Fred dragging Luke Shaw around. It was a much better second half performance. Everyone upped the game a little bit in terms of pressing. There was still some sloppy bits. There was still conceding chances, but you could just tell there was something a bit more about it. And it was, I think, overall, a 10 times better performance than what was it won Leicester.
Times.
First half, it didn't work, but you could see that there was at least some kind of idea going on, who to go, who to press. Scholes highlighted this 4-2-4 wasn't working or whatever. At least there was an idea against Leicester. That was the worry against Leicester. There didn't look like anyone knew what they were meant to be doing. It looked a bit lost. Whereas may not worked in the first half, but we knew what we were doing a bit and got better in the second half. And then obviously the Ronaldo goal, just unbelievable.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty, eh? That boy Ronaldo, again, get involved in the comments. This is live, obviously. Give us a like as well and a subscribe if you're not subscribing. We want to get to 700,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and with your help, we'll do it. A few people jumping in the comments straight away. Big shout out to Jamie Burton in the comments. Jamie, who put us in touch with the financial expert we had speaking about the Glazers the other week. If you've not checked that out, go and have a look at that. It's up on the channel. We've got a load of stories to get through, Mr. Baggers.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about your favourite topic.
Go on.
You wearing his top there. Paddock
Donny
merch is available.
It is.
Donny van der Beek, who's the greatest player ever.
To sit on Man United's bench.
Most people haven't really seen play that much. So we're going to talk about him because, amazingly, after the integral part he's played in this team since he arrived, he could be going out in January, which is the least surprising story I think we've ever had on this channel. That's saying something. We'll also be talking a little bit about injuries. Donny van der Beek, I've mentioned that already. Forgive me. Some guy that you know called Lorenzo Insigne.
Yeah.
You like him, don't you?
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not bad.
A winger.
Yeah.
Another kid called Danny Olmo. You like him as well, don't you?
Another midfield, another winger.
Yeah.
Just what we need.
Just what we need. So just before we move on to all that, as I said earlier, if you're not subscribing, you're not getting involved, do give us a like as well. Let us know what you think about all these stories. And check out the merch, paddockmerch.com. Go and check that out. We've got Donny van der Beek tops. Get him before he goes.
Yeah, get it in.
It'll be worth something one day. Hey, get him. Do what my missus did. They'd get a Fellaini tattoo weeks before he moves on.
That's perfect. Ideal.
I mean, you wonder why I've got no hair. Right, injuries. Because whilst we do like to be positive on this channel and bask in the glory of a 3-2 win over the mighty Atalanta,
big win.
It's come at a cost. Marcus Rashford, was that tactical or was he carrying a little bit of a...
Ollie said it was a bit of a dead leg. He said he come off, which can kind of go either way, dead legs. You kind of think, oh, that could be, he can be back after, he can be back training today. But he wasn't, so there's a good chance that he might be touch and go for the weekend.
Fuck off.
Which is...
we need him for the Scousers,
We are
like Joel Glazer needs a
They've
punch in the
said
face.
Varane,
Seriously.
Varane's
You
still
cannot have
not
him.
quite there yet, it doesn't look like, which obviously is a worry, but I think Lindelof's done all right. He's not done too bad. I think he had a few shaky moments last night, but he played well against Leicester, which he was probably one of the only decent performances against Leicester. The other bit of an injury worry, not just Marcus Rashford, was Fred last night. Fred came off, I think about the 85th minute, grabbing his hamstring. Don't know whether it was, they've not really said whether it was a tear or whatever it's been, a strain, or whether it was just precautionary, felt something, off you go, don't risk it. So I think Rashford's very important. You've seen the change in the team since we've come on. It's a different team with Marcus Rashford in, pressing, working, having that ball over the top. He scored 2 fantastic goals, could have scored a hat-trick last night. The one that's hit the bar, the last-ditch tackle that ended up being onside. He could have scored 3 goals last night.
You scored 1 last night?
He scored 1, could have scored 3 though.
All right, I thought you said he scored 2 fantastic goals.
He had 2 good chances.
All right.
1 good chance. Whatever I said.
I'm sure you just said he scored 2 fantastic goals.
He scored 2 fantastic
right, sorry.
goals since he's been back.
Agreed, because the one at Leicester was very good. Yeah, sorry.
But that kind of ball over the top, especially against the Scousers, who like to step up, like to do that, and Atletico Madrid were doing that all night to them. We need that kind of ball over the top. You need Marcus Rashford doing that. But the other person that's mentioned is Fred, who I thought had a very good game last night.
I agree, and I think that Fred turns up in some of these big games.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a funny record, Fred, because you can play him against someone like, I don't know, Watford or whatever, and he'll have you pulling your hair out if you've got any. But if you play him at the Etihad, he turns into, like, I don't know, Michael Carrick's better older brother. He's just like all over the gaff. He's amazing, and it's just really weird.
I think it's one of them. I think that
like,
we've all talked about.
Why can't you do this against the crap teams?
We wanted to be able to get Matic. We want to be able to get Pogba and Bruno in there. Tried that against Leicester City. We tried it against Villarreal. It doesn't seem to work, especially with the front 3 that we're going to be playing. Especially having Ronaldo in the team. Especially if you're going to have someone like Jadon Sancho or Greenwood on the right hand side. I think you just need to go. Do you know what? We've got to play Fred and McTominay to get the best out of the 4 ahead of them. Whoever that is.
McTominay worries me, though. Because I like McTominay, but he's not been at the races this season.
He's not. I don't think he has, no.
And, there's no sugarcoating it. I mean, I can't. This is great sort of analysis. Can't remember the bloody game. I think it was the Everton game where he stood out as having a really bad game.
He did, yeah.
And I was
like,
next
to you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we were like, and that, Scott McTominay's quite a popular player in here amongst the fans, but a lot of the fans that stood around was like, what is going on with him? Whether it's fitness, whether it's form, whether it's we're trying to change him into a player he's not. There's this stories aren't coming out of the club or from people that know far more than we do, saying that Michael Carrick, maybe Ollie and Kieran McKenna and whoever are working on him, trying to mould him into a DM, and he's not
on his own.
Yeah, and it seems to me like at times he's sort of, I might be overthinking it, but he's so fixated on, right, I'm a DM, I've got to sit in front of this defence, and it's not his natural thing, which is to go after the ball, and he's getting himself in a bit of a pickle where he's neither here nor there. He's standing here, and you're like, the play's over here, go and get it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he's not, because I think he's got it in his finger of like, oh, that isn't my job anymore. My job is to sit here like Nemanja Matic does. Yeah. Matic does it so well, because he reads the game so well, because he's played in that position for a decade. Yeah. Scott McTominay, it's just not happening for him in a minute. Christopher Singh in the comments, would be nice if Jay waves back when I see him in Eccles. I always wave to people in Eccles.
Not been waving.
Strangers. So if you're waving at me, Chris, I'll wave back, always. Let's talk about Donny van der Beek.
Go on.
Because he's quite a divisive figure. Isn't he, old Donny? Like, people in the comments, I saw someone in the comments trying to find it, saying, George says, I don't get why Scott and Fred gets played over Donny. And then there was someone, Shanoaz, Ahmad, Alex, loads of love eyes emojis there. It's just one of your many suitors, one of your many fan club. I think that's Andy Tate in the chat as well, saying, I fear for Sunday, Jay, but I hope I'm wrong. You're never wrong, Andy.
No, never wrong. No.
Hopefully you will be this time. That was it. George says, I don't get why Jay and Joe don't like Donny.
I don't think...
And this is the thing, like, I think if you watched all the videos I've done of spoken about Donny van der Beek, it's hard to come to the conclusion, I don't like him. I think my honest opinion is, I've not seen a lot of him, and when I have seen him, he hasn't amazed me.
No.
Now, there is a balance where you say he's maybe not had enough game time, but I think there's got to be something going down there. I just can't see that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick, who knows more about playing as a 6 than anyone on the planet, they look at him, see him do, he's got what it takes, see he's really good in training, see him when he plays for United and see little bits from him and think, he's great, but we're going to play Fred and McTominay over him. there's got to be something where they go, he's not quite good enough.
No.
And I've not seen enough of him to make me think otherwise. That's all I'm saying. It's not like I don't like the guy.
No.
But
I think I've seen glimpses. You've seen glimpses of quality. You've seen the odd game where he's done very well, and you've seen the odd touch here and there where he's looked sharp. But I don't know. I don't think he plays in that position. I don't think he plays in that two that Ollie wants. I think, look, the one thing that Ollie's got with Freddie McTominay is energy, work rate, and all this kind of stuff. I hate to compare with it, but you look at how Liverpool play. The amount of times that they play with Henderson and Milner in midfield, who isn't the best midfield partnership. It isn't quality, but it's just legs. It's just pressing. It's just doing the right things. It's doing what the manager wants in defensive shape, covering here, covering so that Luke Shaw can push up, covering so that they have Robertson pushing up and things like that. And maybe that's what they want, so that we can have a front four who've got Bruno Fernandes, who's playing ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo a lot of the time. You're having the likes of Marcus Rashford, who does work back but it isn't his main job. Mason Greenwood, who's essentially another striker. You've got that four going forward. If you've got someone in there like Donny van der Beek, who in games has been a passenger a lot of the time. It's not that he's not a good footballer, but he just doesn't get on the ball. He doesn't do all those things, and he just in defensive, he just doesn't do it. He just doesn't do that work rate. I'm not saying Freddie McTominay are perfect. No one is, but there's got to be something there. And I've said it all along. Donny van der Beek seems like Solskjaer's in the same way when we had Mourinho. People saying, can't believe Angel Gomez isn't getting a chance. Can't believe Andres Pereira. And people going,
I'm not
he
laughing
never said that.
I'm laughing because I used to say that quite a lot.
He never said that. And people saying, we never said about Pereira. You did. People said, you seen him in pre-season playing in the number 6 role. Why isn't he playing every week for Man United? And then when Mourinho goes, all right, I'll play him, and he's shit. And you go, that's why. And I think that's the one thing. Carragher said it. He was on with McCall the other week, and McCall said, we think it should be Matic. He said, well, I've seen him try different things. I've seen him try Donny van der Beek. I've seen him try McTominay on his own. And it just doesn't work. Our best performances this season have been with Freddie McTominay in midfield. The Leeds game, probably last night. I think the odd other game has been with Freddie McTominay in midfield. I don't think we've stood out and played good football.
There was a bit, to be fair, I understand what you're saying, but the second half against Newcastle with Matic worked.
Yeah,
it worked because Newcastle were very, very poor. Yeah, so I'm not going to use that as a benchmark.
Against Liverpool this weekend, I just think if you started someone like Donny van der Beek, I think he'd get run over in midfield. I think I'm worried that Matic is going to start, not because he didn't have a great game against Leicester, but it's another level of pressing, it's another level of energy that Liverpool are going to do. It's another level of cover because Luke Shaw's going to go forward. You've got Mo Salah on that side, you've got to look after. And for as much as Fred does, he does cover back in, he does help double up and things like that. And that's what you're going to need in these bigger games. And look, Donny van der Beek, I think he's just not wrong place, wrong time for him. I think that
I agree with pretty much all you said there. People need to remember that we didn't buy Donny van der Beek because he's a 6.
No.
We bought him, in my opinion, probably as a successor to Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba didn't go. So now we don't need to replace Paul Pogba. Also, Bruno Fernandes is just undroppable. His numbers, even last night when he didn't play that well, he created 9 chances. That's unreal, that. That's just stupid.
It last night. You go in Bruno last night, I think at half-time I was going, if you give me Baldy, you could take Bruno off because he was having a stinker last night, the first half. But you keep him on, he plays that pass to Rashford,
do you know what, though?
The game.
You're right, but even in the first half, towards the end of the first half, I think it was his pass when
over the top to Rashford.
And that's a bit of a sitter.
I think there's a bit...
sitter's a bit harsh, but it's a very good chance.
I think there's a bit of it with United at the moment. I think there's a couple of players in there. I think Ronaldo's one of them. I think Bruno's one of them. I think Mason's been one of them for a while. Is because they've got that much quality and because they've got that individual brilliance that everyone goes on about. I think you can't take them off because at the minute, when things can't quite go right, you know you're going to get something from them. You know you're going to get that one little bit that can do it, that one pass from Bruno last night, the header from Ronaldo. You can't take these players off because both of them in the first half were poor. And you think, okay, we'll try something new. Put Pogba on and Cavani on. Imagine if you're taking them off at half-time.
No,
and they come out and do that. You're not going to do that in a minute. And I think that's the thing with Donny van der Beek is that maybe he thought Bruno isn't going to be as good as this and he's going to be able to rest him. He's going to be able to do that. He's not going to be as fit as he's not going to be able to play 60 games a season. But he has. And I think that it's just one of them. He's one of those players that wants to play every week. Does perform
do you know what we need to get through our heads here as well? Is we're not, and it pains me to say it, we're not City where we can drop some of our best players and bring in our second team. We can't, City will drop, I don't know, Jesus and bring in Raheem Sterling. They'll drop Grealish and bring in Foden or whatever. Drop, I don't know, if De Bruyne is injured, Bernardo Silva will come in or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's almost like for like, and they win games. If we were to drop Bruno from Van der Beek, it cost us points.
Yeah.
It would. And we can't afford to do that. We can't afford.
No.
We haven't, because I don't care what anyone says. And this is one thing I will not be like, oh, you know, I'm usually trying to bounce with it. Bruno Fernandes is a much better attacking player than Donny van de Beek is. Bruno Fernandes is going to create you more chances, score you more goals than Donny van de Beek will. So there's not a case of even an argument to be made for me of dropping Bruno Fernandes for Donny van de Beek. That is just ridiculous. So then you're going, all right, then we'll drop Fred. But Fred's a different type of player. He does a different role. Drop McTominay, again, a different type of player, different type of role.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're just sort of almost urging or willing Donny van de Beek to start just because we don't like some of the other players. That doesn't mean that Donny van de Beek's good enough.
Yeah.
You know, they're not sort of mutually exclusive. They could, all three of them, not be quite the level we want to be, but two of them ahead of the other one, if that makes sense.
I think the strange thing is, we're talking about it, there's a bit, the tweet is from Romano saying that there's been rumours about Ajax, and that's not true.
I think
They're
that's saying,
not
but what was it? Sorry.
It's not true, it's fake by all parties involved. It's not looking
Fake
like
news.
it's going to fake news completely. But he then ends the tweet with, there are huge chances for Donny van de Beek to leave Man United in January, which would be a big turn, not just because of him not getting game time and stuff like that, is that, you know, Ollie seemingly blocked moves from in the summer and said, no, you're part of my plans, you're going to do this. And maybe it was just to play the cup games, and maybe it was just to play the Carabao Cup, which we got knocked out in the first round, so you don't need him anymore. Maybe it was to, if you beat Young Boys you could, and Villarreal, the Atalanta game last night, you could play a bit more of a rotate. If you've got 6 points in the bag, you can risk it a little bit last night. But last night was a must-win game, in not just for the overall season, just for the momentum of the season. We needed to get that game won. They're the games you could have rested him if we'd have got 6 points earlier on in the group. You could have tried it. If you 0-0 at half time, 2-0 at half time, you change things and bring Bruno on. You couldn't afford to do that at the minute. But for him to completely switch, does that mean that Paul Pogba's going to sign a new contract? If he goes in January, is that Paul Pogba already done? Is that something that's already been done? Because I don't think you can't let Donny van de Beek go and sell him, and then Paul Pogba walk out the door within 6 months. That seems strange to me, to do both of those things. It just seems a bit odd. It seems a bit odd for just the big switch.
For me, though, I mean, we'll move on from Donny van de Beek, mate, because we've gone on and on about this. But for me, sometimes you've got to force your way into the team. Players do that. Marcus Rashford, even Anthony Martial looked like he was done. He forced his way back in, you know, after Sanchez and Lukaku and all those players came in. You know, I know it's different for an attacker, but, you know, there's a time when it looked like Scott McTominay's never going to get a chance. He forced his way in, regardless of whether he thinks he's good enough or not. These players have forced the issue. Luke Shaw at one point, people were going, oh, Alex Tellers is going to take his place. That's an, you know, crazy idea now. Yeah. That'll never happen. Yeah, at the time he did. But again, Luke Shaw steps up when he needs to. So maybe that's what you got to do. Brian Malone in the Super Chat says, Van der Beek and Sancho both come from well-drilled teams with excellent systems. They will both struggle under Ollie. I think it's more than just the system, bro. I'll be honest with you. Ross Murphy, member of the Academy for 40 months. You all know Ross Murphy, does all our moderating. Says, I don't see this thing about #free Donny. He's been given opportunities. He's not better than Fred, who was bought to replace Pogba. I don't think he's good enough.
The thing is, Ollie's given chances to every single player at Man United. Every single player that's shown a little glimmer of hope of getting into that team. Yeah. Pereira got his chances, didn't take them, wasn't good enough. Even Sancho this season, people going on saying, oh, Sancho's not done. He's been given half an hour, though, and he's been given starts. So he must be showing something. He must be showing something in training that makes him do that. I don't for 1 minute think that Donny van de Beek is amazing in training, ripping up trees, being better than everyone, boss in training, and then Ollie going, nah, I'm not playing you. I just don't see it.
I agree. Should we move on from Donny van de Beek? Because I don't think I've spoken about a player who's played fewer games for Manchester United as much as I have about Donny van de Beek ever. I think I've spent about 2 months of my life, if you had all the minutes up together, speaking about Donny van de Beek. And you know what? I love it if he proves all wrong and absolutely smashes it. I just don't think he will, and I think it looks like he could be heading out the door in January. Just quickly then, before we move on to signings and transfers and all that jazz, injuries. So you mentioned there, Marcus. There's a question mark around Fred as well.
Fred, they've not really said anything, but he came off holding his hamstring, which is never a good thing, that. Right. And I think there's a question mark over that. And then there's the obvious one of Varane. Still unsure. Yeah. Could he come back into the team this weekend? I don't think so. There's rumours he might be there or thereabouts, probably close to getting into training, but I don't think he's going to play this weekend. I'd be surprised if he gets a game before that next international
Rushing Maguire back against Leicester was a
We don't need to do... Well, look, Maguire's back now. He looked all right last night, played well. I think he looks back to full fitness. And here's the thing, Lindelof's not that bad. I think Lindelof looks all right. And again, in these bigger games, it's not the worry for Lindelof was the second half. They brought Lylon, who won a load of headers, was a threat in the air. Liverpool aren't going to do that to Lindelof, so I'm not too worried about it. And it's the same in the next few weeks. You're not panicking over Victor Lindelof in these next few games, so don't rush Varane back like you did to Maguire.
Yeah, makes sense. Moving on then to transfers. Lorenzo Insigne, apparently, I think this is coming out of, in fact, I'll find it. Sports Witness have this, and they've got it from Gazzetta dello Sport. And this is basically saying that United have informed themselves. How do you inform yourself? Inform themselves.
Just us going in
so
there.
you stand in the mirror, you
are
inform
interested
myself
in
that I'm
him.
ace. On a potential free agent star, race open to sign him. So it's saying here that potentially Insigne, whose contract expires even in June, would be available, and United could be in for him. Now, he's a winger who plays on the left, does he? Insigne,
Yeah,
I think. I
so.
don't know, pretend I know loads about him.
No.
He's 30, so he's not young, is he? But I mean, I don't know a lot about him. His numbers look good. Do you know what I mean? He's obviously very productive. And Italians are flavour of the month at the minute, aren't they? It's like you can get hold of an Italian player.
Yep.
Exactly. Sorry, I think he's a right-footed winger who plays on the left. Reminds me of someone that, doesn't it? So I mean, it's not. Also as well, he's 5'3". I mean, that's all. What's that about? Yeah. That's only about 2 inches bigger than you, isn't it?
Hey, he's done it.
It's only because I don't get. Joe's not here, so I'm not like that for once. Someone stopped me in the playground the other day and said, "What are you doing around here? You've not got any kids." No, they didn't. They said, "Oh, I didn't realise you were that tall. I thought you were dead small." I was like, I didn't even know this guy. And I was like, what? And he went, because I watched his channel.
You don't think he's that tall? That's the problem.
Yeah. And Joe, they don't realise Joe's like 7'3". Well, he's not, but he's a very tall man.
Yes.
That reminds me of something as well.
Go on.
Naz from Simpson's Shoes in Asda. Big shout out to you.
What? What's going on here?
He's my new mate.
He sorted you some shoes out?
Some shoelaces. He said, I went in there to get shoelaces. And he said, "Oh, Jake, you don't have to pay. Keep up the good work on Paddock." So I said I'd give him a shout out.
If that was all right.
I'm like, hey, Joe just said it's a load of cobblers. There you go. Big shout out to him.
Joe.
Yeah, that's how I roll. Shoelaces, you get a shout out. Super chats is one thing, or if you just want to bump into me and Aston, give me some shoelaces, it's another way of doing
Hopefully
it.
that doesn't cost you a job at Simpsons in any way, shape or form.
Yes, I later paid full price as was arranged. So Insigne, yes or no?
I just don't see the point. I don't see. It's again another person playing on the left hand side. You mentioned that we've only got Rashford. Someone said before, I think it might be Joe saying we've only got Rashford there, but Sancho fills in there, does all right out there. We've got Paul Pogba that can play out there. You've still got Anthony Martial at the club at this moment in time that can do it. If Cavani plays, Ronaldo can always drift over to that left-hand side. I don't want any more people that are going to play on the left-hand side for Manchester United. I still think we could get someone else as a backup around Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, someone more natural to that right-hand side. But no, I don't. Another 30-year-old winger. We've got a lot of experienced players now in terms of having Ronaldo up there, having Cavani. I think you want more players around the 24, 25 mark. You're not looking at more experienced players for that team, are you?
No. Also, just slightly off topic, but Roman got beat 6-1 tonight, didn't
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
I know. And it seems like, I don't know, there was a quote, if I can find it, from Jose. And I don't want to start digging out Jose, because, we finally moved on from him.
Yeah.
But there was I can't even find it, there was a sort of quote of Jose talking about, that was it. It seems like, sorry, I've lost it now. He was sort of saying that the disparity between his first choice players and his second choice players is massive, and it just reminded me of his time at United. When we had that thing where he went on pre-season, he was unhappy about the quality of players that were available, and he was sort of saying, "I've got Alexis Sanchez and a load of children."
It's an odd section of our fan base that still think it was the wrong decision.
Yeah, I've seen that. And again, it's like the whole Van der Beek. You can think that he's not up to the job, but let's not pretend or reimagine history. Sorry, and pretend that Jose ended on a high. People treat it like we won the Europa and the League Cup, finished second, and then he got sacked straight away. He didn't. The wheels was coming off, and you can argue that he should have been back better in the transfer window, which I understand.
Yeah,
but still, you've got a job as a manager. You can't just go playing Scott McTominay in defence and Ander Herrera and getting beat, 3-0 at home off Spurs and getting absolutely dominated by the Scousers and I can't even remember some of the other results. I've sort of phased them out of my mind, but it wasn't a great start to the season. And he just, you could tell he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with his players. He wasn't happy with everyone. No. And he had to move on. And it's like, I can still respect Jose Mourinho on the job he did at Old Trafford and think it was right for him to move on. But there are these sections of the fan base that still seem to think like, I don't know, we let him go too soon. It's not a narrative I can buy into if I'm being honest with you.
Because the narrative of I think he should have got a centre half. I think they were wrong not to give him another centre half in that transfer window. But I don't think it changes that much. I don't think it makes us 10 times better. You think of the other players we're linked with Perisic, Danny Rose. Who else was there? There's a few other players. They're all retired now. Or Boateng. They're all retired or they're out.
Danny Rose was a strange one. Danny Rose is barely Premier League standard.
And this is the thing that people forget, that they were the players that Jose wanted.
He fell out of him at Spurs.
I know, yeah. He's like, I want him.
Do you remember the scene?
He wanted Eric Dyer. That was the other one he wanted.
He speaks Portuguese.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go and get Steve Keane to play for us?
I think that the one thing all he's got pretty spot on is his transfers have been.
Yeah, no, I think all his transfers are made. Even when he's moved players on that he bought, like with Dan James, it's worked out.
Done it spot on.
Key Arman TV says, great win yesterday. Don't want to hear Ollie out anymore. Trust the process. Ollie is here to stay. Comeback masterclass. I like your positivity. Yeah. You never get any complaints from us. Right, there's another transfer rumour doing the rounds.
Yep.
Player that you love. You're always banging on about him in the office.
All the time.
Constantly. Oh, I'll tell you what.
Who's he play for?
Red Bull Leipzig. Well, they're not called that anymore, are they? They're called something else.
Not allowed to be. Rasenballs.
Rasenballs, yeah. Obviously, they're not, it's not just a flight of fancy to promote a fizzy drinks company. Apparently, here you go. United and Man City interested in Danny Olmo, says Manchester newspaper, the Evening News. That's funny, that anyhow. Both Manchester clubs are interested in this player.
Crazy.
Manchester United and Man City are both interested in RB Leipzig forward Danny Olmo, according to reports. My favourite ever sentence. But they say there is a little bit of fire to that smoke because Christian Falk.
He's just pretty good.
He's all right. We've had him on the channel live from Bayern Munich's training ground. We had him. He says that it's true. I'm always a little bit sceptical though when it says interested in him, looking at him, because that doesn't mean a lot until you sort of start seeing some.
I think again he's the kind of profile of the player you want, a bit younger. They played very good Euros with Spain, look sharp, doing all right with Leipzig. I think Leipzig are in the position where they're kind of, players are dropping out of there all the time. They aren't a club that's holding on to players, so it wouldn't surprise me. Again, another forward to add to that team. Did mention we've got the experience of Cavani and Ronaldo. How long they last in those positions, you don't know. Maybe could do someone else that's comfortable on the right hand side.
Yeah, it says as well. I don't know a lot about this. He can play as an attacking midfielder or as a winger. I mean, you're giving yourself options there. Yeah. He's one of those players anyway. If you sign Danny Olmo, I don't think people are going to go, "Why the hell have we got him?" But I don't think that's the sign everyone wants.
It's like almost Donny van der Beek.
It is. It's one of them. All right, exciting because we've got a good player.
Yeah.
Relatively young and obviously he's doing well on that. But he's not the one we all wanted.
No,
and I think,
the one we all wanted.
And I think that if we have learned anything from the Donny van der Beek signing, it's that we shouldn't spend any of our transfer budget on players that we aren't 100% with because of the Glazers, we haven't got as much money to spend as we like. So it's not like we could brought in. Remember back in the day where we buy you
buy 4 and hope 2.
Yeah, you remember when we brought David Bellion, Liam Miller, God rest him. Who else was there? Kleberson, the Djemba twins. And in somewhere in the middle of all that was some lad called Cristiano Ronaldo.
And that was how United did transfer business.
It's just throw a load of 15 million, 20 million, 10 million, 5 million, a load of these players, and one or two of them will be world class. Or one of them will be one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, it's kind of that's how Chelsea have done things for a long time.
But we can't now because we go we're buying 3 players and one of them.
I've had a chat.
One of them's 12 and the other 2 are one's a third choice goalkeeper or something. The other one we might give him a game.
And then we've got Cristiano Ronaldo. That's kind of how our transfer business works at the minute, isn't it? Just people you've never heard of, third choice goalkeeper, and Cristiano Ronaldo. That's kind of.
Wouldn't it be great if we actually had some sort of strategy with transfers? It just seems let's just see what happens. What's that? Ronaldo's available. Get him.
Get him.
We haven't got any money. Oh, Ronaldo. We'll get him though.
Doesn't matter. Put him there.
This is a good point in the super chat. Kimani, W says not enough likes for my liking.
That's
Up the fucking Paddock. Yes, give us a like. Hit that like button, please. K Slater 23. I think there's a bit of a debate going on constantly about Donny van der Beek.
That's a shock because.
And he says Fabrizio has said that Donny was 100% Ollie signing and Ollie wanted him and was involved. He might have done, but he might have wanted him, thinking that he was going to need him more than he does, and hasn't needed him because Pogba and Bruno have been pretty much always available, and maybe he's not as good as he thought he was.
Again,
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just fed up.
I can't say I've watched loads of him at Ajax, but you've seen clips of him. You've seen where he's played for Ajax. He played a lot of times in that number 10 role, same kind of thing that Bruno plays. He did play in defensive midfield in a 2. But I had a look at the other people he played alongside. He had a lot of time with lads that usually play at centre half alongside him that did a lot of defensive work. And again, United don't have that player. United don't have that one who's going to sit and do that defensive work to allow someone like Donny van der Beek who can venture forward and can do that. Because when he played him, I had a look. He played there against Chelsea in the Champions League, and they got battered. Well, I think it was 4-4 that game where he played in midfield. You know, when it was all over the place, like the Chelsea Ajax game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of thing. I don't think he offers enough defensively. And when you're Man United in the minute where you're a bit all over the place, you're not going to get into the team. And I don't think you're that good going forward where you can just plug him in anywhere. So, look, it's just not worked out, has
it? John Shin says, smash that fucking like button, you legends. John Shin's a legend. John Shin will be back on the channel next week. I think we're going to have another debate with him. And McCullough. Is
that John Shin from BT Sport? The tweet last
night?
Is
he in BT Sport now, are we? Oh, big time.
Paul Scholes answering his question and all this.
What do you mean answering questions from Americans? Is this what it's come to?
That's what's happened.
Reading out tweets from New York. What, we Saturday Night Live? Pathetic. No, we love John Shin. Thanks, and he's right. Give us a like. I'm just going to go into some of the comments. Oh, Nick Albany says, we have loads of players that could potentially go in December or next summer. Hope for a midfielder this Christmas. That would be the ultimate Christmas present.
That's it. If you can get them two out the door, which is what the talk was towards the end of this transfer window. If someone did come in, I think if Jesse had gone, if you'd have got Van der Beek out the door, if you wanted to go, if you'd have sold Anthony Martial, I think you might have seen us try and get a midfielder last minute. Ideally, Donny van der Beek goes. I think there's another tweet saying, Anthony Martial not looking like he's getting in the team. Could he be out the door? And then maybe we get a January signing and get a midfielder in, which, if you get the right one, could kick us on. Still in the title race, still in the Champions League, still in some of the cups. You never know.
You never know. Hey, you never know. Last night, I don't want to get carried away, but it felt like one of the moments where you think, name's on the trophy.
We could get out of the group this time and draw Bayern Munich and it all be over.
You're telling me you've not booked flights for the final already off the back of that? Are you mad? Listen, we're going to wrap it up there. If you're not doing already, go and check out the merchandise we've got, paddockmerch.com. If you still believe in that
Donny van der Beek.
Not Alex Bagley, we all believe in him. Donny van der Beek, go and check out that. We've got loads of other stuff on there as well. If you're not subscribing, hit that subscribe button. We're up to 612,000 subscribers, only 88,000 away from our target of 700,000. Quick maths. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I want to get there by the end of the season, and I think we can do it with your help because you lot are amazing. Baggers, where can people find you?
Baggers_Alex. So me and you at the minute just taking the mick out of Adam Patterson on Twitter. That's what we do.
Oh yeah, Adam Patterson. If he's gone on to, I wouldn't say better pastures because that's impossible.
No,
different.
Of course you can't.
He's just, you know what I mean. He's gone on to the mainstream media because he's a massive Tory.
He was on the He's on the TV today, wasn't he? Well, his name was anyway. And so was yours, wasn't it?
His name was, but so was mine, and you don't see me bragging about it.
So go and have a look at that.
So this has been me, Oki and Griffith, and my mate, Alex Bagley. I'll be back in the morning with the news, 10:30 live from round there. So I'll see you in the morning, and thanks for watching.